was fantastic today to be able to talk to Monika Wong, who is in Perth and I'm here in Sydney. So we're stretched across the continent, 3 hours apart, but connected by our interest in Polish migration, specifically to the area of the central west of New South Wales. So Monika, thanks so much for coming on and having a chat. I'm very interested in what's going to follow over the next few minutes. Tell us, what do you do in Perth? What's going on for you?
At the moment, I'm the president of the Herald Avenue Senior Centre, which involves a lot of work, but I'm also a Tai Chi master, so I also teach Tai Chi.
Oh, fantastic. Okay.
So, yeah, both of the above keep me busy, very busy.
And last time I was talking with you, teeing up this interview, you had come out of meetings with the Premier to secure funding for the aged care sector. Tell us about some of your lobbying pursuits.
Okay, well, I'm the Herald Avenue Senior Centre that I inherited was a dinosaur. So immediately we had to get funding so that we could put it into the 20th century, if not the 21st century. So I'm a pretty outgoing person who says, right, we need this. I haven't got the money. Let's go ask the people who have. Mm-hmm. So I lobby all the politicians. I don't care what race or creed they are. I just go say, how big's your checkbook?
And was that successful?
It was very successful. Yes, we got quite a bit of funding. So we've fixed up a lot of the problems that we had with the centre, mainly asbestos, because it was built way back when. Yeah. We need to get rid of all of that. And they were all very, we didn't know that was still there. Yeah, sure. Mm.
Well, that's fabulous. Good to hear that was successful. Let's wind things back to when you were a little girl, if you can remember back that far. I know we all have increasing difficulty in that department, but where did you grow up? Where were you born?
I was born at the Parkes Migrant Centre in central New South Wales, of course.
Well, this gets very interesting. And you were born to who?
I was born to Stanislava and Julian Domoraki. So I'm Polish by nationality.
Yes.
Raised in Australia, and ended up marrying a Chinaman. So,
know. All right. We'll do our best to keep things from this point on in some sort of chronological order so we don't confuse people too much. So let's go back a little further to your parents' homeland of Poland and the circumstances surrounding them coming to be at the Parkes Migrant Centre.
The mum and dad didn't talk much about that, but what we gleaned as children was they escaped out of Poland into Italy during the war. And then from Italy, Dad was given a choice of going to America or Australia. Dad chose Australia because Australia has no borders, he said, which meant no other country bordered would invade. Very sensible fellow, I thought. And he came out I think he came out in 48 and Mum came out in 49.
Yes. They
came out on separate ships. When we asked how come that was that, he just said that was the way it was done. Before that, trying to get information out of Dad as to how bad it was, or Dad never spoke. No. Whenever we spoke about the war, like as kids, you say, oh, geez, Dad, was it like that? And Dad would say, I lived it. And that was all that we sort of got out of Dad, if you know what I mean. And the same with Mum. So pre-Parkes, I really can't tell you much. So, yeah.
Were they in a relationship together?
Apparently they were, yes. Mum had been in a relationship before that, but her husband had been killed in the war.
Right.
And then Mum and Dad sort of met up in Italy.
Yes, yes. So how old would your mother and father have been when they left Italy?
Well, Dad was born in 23 and they ended up in here in 49. So yeah, I'm not that good at math.
In their mid-20s by the sounds of it.
Very young, very young to be going through something like that, I felt.
Yes. Of course, many people who've been through war don't want to talk about the experience of the war for obvious reasons. And perhaps even more so if you've come from Europe and you're going to a new land with new opportunities and a new start, there's perhaps less interest in talking about where you've come from and what you've experienced.
Looking ahead. You're looking ahead, I think, not back. That's how I looked at it anyway.
Yes. So you arrive, I don't know what, so sorry, not you arrive, your parents arrive, and they found themselves together at the Parkes Migrant Centre. Perhaps they went to Bathurst first, like many did.
Mum went to Bathurst. Mum went to Bathurst first, but Dad apparently went straight to Parkes.
Okay.
So, yeah. Because I remember Dad telling me he had to walk to Bathurst to meet Mum, sort of thing, before she came to Parkes Migrant Centre.
Golly. That's
well,
love.
no cars in those days. Love is a wonderful thing.
And Monika, are you one of several?
I'm one of three.
Okay.
I'm the middle of three. I have my older brother, and then I also have my younger brother as well. So,
do you have memories of being in the Parkes Migrant Centre?
Not really, because my first memories, I'll be honest, is Clorinda Street in Parkes, where Dad had rented a home. So that was obviously after they'd come out of I was born at the Migrant Centre, but I don't have any memories of it, no.
Did they talk about the Migrant Centre to you?
They did. I've got lots of photos of the Migrant Centre, and this is where you played, and this is where you did, and this is where we live, sort of thing. But that was about it.
Okay. Did you have some feeling that you were in any way different, or from the word?
Oh, yeah. I was bullied at school.
Yeah.
I was different. We ate different food. We talked different because Mum and Dad spoke. Once we got home, we spoke English. We spoke Polish. Polish is my first language. So when I went to school, I had to learn English.
Yeah.
Which wasn't easy. So I was different. So, of course, kids being kids, some kids can be pretty mean, but that chapter of my life, I just go, yeah, all right, put your big girl panties on and live it. I remember at one stage, this is at school, of course, we were doing some subject and I couldn't say the word. And I do remember the kids laughing, going, oh, well, don't ask her. She's a wog.
Yeah.
Amen. Kids is kids, as I said. I understand that nowadays, but boy, by then.
Yeah, very harsh for a
Yes.
young kid trying to
Yes.
be like everybody else. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And have you gone back to Poland yourself? Do you feel some connection with the country?
I dearly want to go back to Poland. I never have. It was supposed to happen the year COVID broke. I had tickets, had everything organized. COVID broke, went, no, not going. So it is still on the cards to go. I know Dad went back a couple of times to see the rest of his family and everything, but I unfortunately have not gone. So.
Well, I hope you do get to go. I mean, it sounds like you want to go, but
I do. But the way that things are there over there today, I don't know. With Putin being the way he is, I don't know.
But you know the area that you would go back to?
Yeah, I would go back to Gniezno and Poznan, which is basically Mum and Dad's birth towns. I'd like to see, all around there. So. Sadly, I've got an auntie still over there.
Yes.
And two cousins. I'm hoping I can get over there before they do turn up their toes, as they say.
Yeah, well, I hope so too for you.
Yeah.
And a captivating Chinaman came along at some point and, wished you off your feet and gave you the name Wong. How did that all happen?
Well, it was when I took up, when I took up Tai Chi. I had a midlife crisis in my 30s, and my first marriage unfortunately fell apart. Took up Tai Chi, and there was this little Chinaman teaching Tai Chi, and by that stage, I'll be honest, I'd swore there'd be never another man in my life. Fate had different plans for me. So yeah, met up, he broke down all my barriers, as they say, and I ended up being, instead of going from Monika Domoraki to Monika Wong. Which is quite unusual, because most of our cult, the Chinese culture and the Polish culture is very, very similar. Looking after family,
Yes.
the big gatherings, looking basically very, very similar, which is, I already had them instilled when I was a child, so fitted into the Chinese culture very well, if you can understand what I'm saying.
Where's
So
his family from?
His family is from Hong Kong.
Mm.
It was quite interesting teaching John Polish and him teaching me Chinese. So we had that, so I'll teach you Polish if you teach me Chinese, so I could speak to his parents. So it was quite a good thing.
That's cool that you've still got your Polish.
Definitely. And I've taught my grandchildren. I have 9 grandchildren, and I've taught them all Polish as well.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
9 grandchildren.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
How
Thank you.
how recent is your most recent?
Okay, the youngest one is 11, the eldest is 30, and in exactly 4 weeks from today, I will be a great grandmother. So,
terrific. Now, give us an idea how far and wide those grandchildren live, or do they all live?
Okay, we have 4 in Western Australia. I have 4 in New South Wales and 1 in Hong Kong. So,
and they are of mixed,
travel quite. Yes, we have to
mixed
travel
Polish, Australian, Chinese descent.
All there, all of the above.
Yeah, well, that's part of what this little interview is about, is how a young couple in their 20s come out here, scarred by war, endeavouring to make a new start, end up in the Central West, New South Wales, I'm sure vastly different to the world that they've come from. And here we are, not too long later, what's that, 48 to now, so 74 years later, and we've got children and grandchildren scattered across the country, and Chinese history coming in as well. It makes for a very colourful Australia, doesn't it?
It is, isn't it? It's a multicultural country, I must admit, and it never ends. I like my you just don't know who your children are going to marry or who your grandchildren are going to marry. So
and each of those parts bring values that are positive and life-giving, and becomes part of who Australia is.
That's true. Very true. Very true.
And you've got the rural component. I'm sure some of that family live in the city and have only ever known the city, and others have only ever known the country.
Very true.
And we've even got, Western Australia for a little time there during COVID, we weren't sure if they were going to break away entirely from Australia. So it's nice to come through that and be able to visit your grandchildren again.
Yeah, I must admit, last time I went to New South Wales, which was only a couple of weeks ago, I was doing a Tai Chi seminar, and I was introduced as Master Wong, of course, from Western Australia. And of course, the joke started about Western Australia. So I just politely stood and said, yeah, well, if you want some money, be nice, or else you're not going to get it. I always throw the GST out, the GST.
Tell us about the Tai Chi a little bit more and what's involved in that. It's obviously a big passion for you.
It is. To tell you about it, I've got to go back to when I was 32. I was diagnosed with chronic arthritis and told that I would be in a wheelchair by the time I was 40. Now, I looked everywhere because I didn't want to be in a wheelchair. I'd be in pain or whatever. So I took up Tai Chi, because this magic Chinese cure, it's not. But basically what it is, it's movement. It teaches you how to move and how to live with your pain. And I'm glad to say I'm now 72 and I'm still not in that bloody wheelchair. And yes, I am in pain some days, but I can still move. So it's soft movement, it's gentle movement, and it does teach you how to use your muscles to move your body basically without affecting your joints too much.
Yes. I
So,
must confess, as a young 20-year-old, when I first went to China, well, firstly Hong Kong, then Guangzhou, and then traveled through mainland China, I watched people doing Tai Chi in parks and everywhere else, and thinking, well, that doesn't look like it's getting the cardio up very much. It doesn't look particularly helpful. How is it helpful in?
Okay, Tai Chi is a soft, gentle art, but it is a martial art as well. So basically what you do, you use your you speed your breathing up while you're doing it so that the cardio comes in.
Oh, yeah.
And but you can just do it as a soft movement. If I'm in pain, I just do the soft part. But if I'm feeling really good, I can bring the martial arts side into it as well. So my children call it, when they see me doing my Tai Chi, they say, there goes mum, she's kung fu on Valium.
That's great. Is it a daily routine for you?
Every day. Every day. I get up at 5:30 every morning and I do at least an hour of Tai Chi every morning.
Gosh, yeah.
And then I know that I can get through the day. It cuts down on the painkillers, which are not good for the body. So, you know, for me, it's a gentle way of exercising, and it's a natural way of exercising. I mean, you know, you see these, and I'm probably going to be funny here, but you see little Chinese ladies loading down with groceries running. And I thought, yeah, I want to be like that. So, yep, I'm going to be like that. Yeah.
It's really quite hard, I've got to say, to visualize you as a small child at the Parkes Migrant Centre to Polish parents, to what you're doing now and who you've become, and all the children and the grandchildren that have come.
Yeah, I've got to say, it's been a wild ride. You know, I mean, mum and dad always stood by me and said, whatever you want to do, you can do it, basically. Mum was always a homemaker. Women stayed at home, cooked the dinner, cleaned, made the clothes, blah, 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 blah. But dad always used to say, you can do whatever you want to do. Don't ever let anybody tell you you can't. Whenever when I went into the meeting with the Premier, it was dad in my background saying, come on, you can do what you want to do. And whenever I start anything, it's always dad that says, come on, girl. You know, my favorite saying is, put your big girl panties on. Let's go. If you know what I'm saying. So, but.
And where did that confidence come for him, do you think?
I think because Australia gave him a chance. I mean, they came out with nothing. And this is the honest truth. And in those days, there wasn't the pensions. There wasn't the Centrelink. You had to do what you had to do. And to know that dad came out with Nout, and as he used to say to us, we had, you know, he said he had a cup and a blanket and a plate and a fork. He said, but then he built our own home, and he had a car, he had a job, he stayed in that job all his working life. So he knew that Australia was good. As he used to say, Australia gave me a life. He ran away from a life, but Australia gave him a life. And he used to always say that to us. He said, don't forget what gave you a life. You know, and I think that's probably where I've taken that from, because you can have what you want, Monika. All you got to do is work for it. And the major word is work. Don't expect anything for nothing. And that's what I told the politicians. I don't expect it for nothing. I'll work, but you need to, you know. So there.
Fabulous, Monika. Thanks so much for jumping on Zoom and having a chat, and all the very best with everything you're doing in the aged care community, and keep powering. I want to see you as that little woman running around, you know, with luggage on your head or whatever it is they do.
Whatever.
In 20 years' time. Okay.
Okay. Thank you kindly. Thank you for listening to me.
Thanks so much, Monika.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.